Welcome back to Young Tripp Reactions. The next video we're going to do is JPMorgan executive accused of turning worker into uh, a sex slave. Um, Make sure that you guys like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, join the Young Tripp family, and also, for people who are already subscribed, make sure that you're still subscribed. YouTube is in that crazy moment right now of unsubscribing people. Um, so make sure that you guys do that. And let's get into this.
Accused of turning worker into a sex slave. Here's the details on this one. Buckle up. JPMorgan executive allegedly used her power to sexually harass and abuse a junior male employee, reportedly drugging him, subjecting him to racial abuse, threatening his career when he refused her advances, according to a lawsuit. Lorna.
And see, and of course, some people may think, oh, he's a guy. Oh, he probably like this. No, men get harassed too. Maybe he's not into her like that. Maybe he's the type that don't want to talk to somebody that's in leadership over him. I'm probably more going to go with he probably just didn't like her, because usually a man, hey, if we want to rock with somebody, we'll rock with him. He did not want to rock with her. And her trying to force him to is absolutely insane and absolutely crazy. And so again, like I said, men get sexually harassed just like women do. It's not a one-sided thing. A lot of people think that just because a man is a man and oh, he wants to be intimate and all that he'll be intimate with anybody and everybody because men are accused of always cheating and all that. No. Men can also be harassed. They can also be harassed by somebody who may like them that they may not like, just like women. It's all the same. Let's continue.
Hajdini, executive director in JPMorgan Chase's, leveraged in his career when he refused her advances, according to a lawsuit. Lorna Hajdini, executive director in JPMorgan Chase's leveraged finance division, accused in the filing of coercing married banker Chirayu Rana into non-consensual and humiliating sex acts over months, despite his pleas for her to stop.
And as you just heard, he's married, so he obviously already has someone and all of that. So that's probably his biggest reason of rejecting her. And she still continued after he told her to stop. Insane. Let's continue.
Rana's suit, filed Monday under the pseudonym John Doe, accused 37-year-old executive director of turning him into her sex slave, drugging him with drugs such as Rohypnol, Viagra, threatening to slash his bonus if he did not comply.
This is absolutely crazy. Viagra, I've heard of that. Quite often you hear about that a lot sometimes in Lifetime movies. I watch a lot of Lifetime movies, so I've heard of that. But that is absolutely crazy. That is absolutely crazy that she used this stuff to force herself onto him. Let's continue.
The New York Post with the details here. I think it's Rohypnol is the drug. Look it up. On occasion, Rana says Hajdini told him if he wanted a promotion to executive director, he would have to earn it by pleasing her. During one event, he says, Hajdini.
That is crazy. For him to earn his way up to being an executive, that he would have to earn it by pleasing her. Basically, in her mind, by you cheating on your wife with me. Absolutely insane. Absolutely crazy. Let's continue.
Grabbed his junk, ran her spit-covered hands over his head and neck.
That she reached and grabbed his junk. What would make her feel so comfortable to just reach and grab and start playing with his junk? And like I said earlier, a lot of people will take this as, regardless of him being married, and take this as he wanted this, he liked this, he's a man, what is there to complain about? What's the problem? Obviously, he didn't like her like that. Let's even start there. Let's even not even get to the wife stuff yet. Let's just start with that he did not like her like that. Clearly, he asked her to stop. And then you factor in the fact that he's already married. He doesn't want to lose his wife. And so he's trying to do everything to keep her away. Absolutely crazy. And like I said, there will be several people that may say that, well, what is there to complain about? Hey, have fun with her and your wife doesn't have to know. No, that's not what he wants to do, and I don't advise him to do that. Let's continue.
At that function, Rana says, Hajdini called him her little Arab boy toy. That's a quote. On a different occasion, he claims she offered to give him a birthday BJ, not a teddy bear.
Oh my God. This lady should be out of a job. She should be out of a job. She offered to give him a birthday job, and you know what that means. Not a promotion, not a second job. You know what kind she meant. That is absolutely crazy and insane. He told you no. He does not like you like that. He already has a wife. He has asked you to stop. She don't have no respect for him, herself, or the wife, continuing to pursue one of her employees. That is absolutely crazy. Let's continue.
Think about it. Dubbing him her little brown boy. He says when he wants her.
Calling him her little brown boy. So obviously, we're talking about a woman that is Caucasian. And then based off of, I think, from hearing his name, he's like from Mexico or somewhere, this is absolutely crazy. And then referring to him as her little brown boy. So she obviously must like Mexicans, African Americans, and stuff. There's plenty of single African Americans. There's plenty of single Mexicans. He's married and he does not want to step out on his wife. Leave the man alone. This is crazy, bruh. Let's continue.
Used to have drinks with her. She allegedly responded, if you don't F me soon, I'm going to ruin you. Never.
When they would go out on employee drinking nights with the team, she would tell him, as you just heard, tell him that if you don't F me soon, that she's going to ruin him. There's plenty of dudes out there that she could probably go and meet who would gladly do what she wants. But she's so adamant on wanting him. Sounds like an obsession and very dangerous. This is crazy. And I'm sure at this point he should be definitely documenting everything for any other higher ups, because this is absolutely unacceptable. Nobody should have to go to work and have this type of treatment at all and be intimately harassed. Let's continue.
Forget I effing own you. My goodness.
She said, I effing own you. Ma'am, you don't own anybody. If he doesn't want to talk to you like that, you have no choice but to move on and go find somebody else. He's married. He told you that, and you continue to harass this man. She should be really prosecuted. Touching him, grabbing stuff, all that. She should be prosecuted. Because, first of all, you're not supposed to be intimately touching nobody. But see, there's women out here who believe, oh, he's a man. Oh, he's not going to go to the police. He may not like it, but he ain't going to do nothing. I'm going to continue to do what I want to do. And see, until us men step up and start prosecuting these crazy women that be doing this type of stuff, they're going to continue to do the exact same thing like this lady is doing. Because we can say no. We can say we're not interested, even if we don't have a wife, even if we don't have a girlfriend, even if we're not seeing somebody, even if we're not engaged or anything like that. We are still able to say no because we may not be interested in them. She is crazy. Let's continue.
And I thought bankers were boring. This is actually no laughing matter. You have the sexism, the sex acts that are alleged by force, and the racial component. All of it. In JPMorgan's house, that's the allegation. So he also says,
every month,
advertisement,
Airbnb pays me about $2,700 in semi-passive income. Now, here's the thing. I don't...
Hajdini used her executive status to gain unauthorized access to his bank account to track his every move. In the summer of 2020,
she got access to his bank account. What? Oh, yeah, this woman has some obsessive issues. She needs to be prosecuted. And like I said earlier, until men, all of us men who have had any issue like this with women harassing or trying to force themselves on us, because it happens to us just like it happens to women. And until men and we step up and get these crazy women prosecuted, they will continue to be crazy. This woman got access to his bank account. What? Let's continue. How the hell did she do that?
Ford is claimed in the lawsuit, Hajdini showed up at an apartment where he was staying, knowing he would be there. Inside, she allegedly made sexual advances on Rana. He rebuffed, insisting he was not interested. Do you want to get promoted at year-end?
She made advances at him, and then he rejected, and she said, don't you want to be promoted? This is absolutely crazy. You cannot use that as trying to encourage somebody to be intimate with you for promotion. That is actually against the law, and you're not supposed to do that. But let's continue.
Not, Hajdini warned him, according to the lawsuit. Do you want a future at JPMorgan? It's that simple. I don't know why you're fighting this.
Does he want a future? Because usually we hear this from women. That's why I keep saying it like that. But it's the man that's the victim. For her to say, don't you want a future at JPMorgan? Again, like I said, illegal. You are not supposed to use intimacy or anything like that as a way to get someone to do what you want them to do. Well, if you want a promotion, you have to sleep with me. No, that is illegal. You are not supposed to do that. Absolutely not. Yeah, this lady is crazy. Let's continue.
Daily Mail getting in on the reporting action here. Hajdini then allegedly removed her shirt, began fondling her breast, and racially insulted Rana's wife, remarking, I bet your little Asian fishhead wife doesn't have these cannons.
Now she's insulting the wife. She then took off her shirt, started playing with her boobs, and telling him, I bet your wife doesn't have these. Your little fish head wife, to be exact. Your fish head Asian. This is absolutely crazy. Let's continue.
Their quote, the complaint reads, Rana claims she then forcibly removed his pants and performed oral sex on him against his will.
What the? Oh my God. Threatened him with his job, pulled off his pants, and began to perform fellatio on him. This woman needs to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. This is absolutely crazy. A lawsuit needs to be filed. Everything needs to be done. She is a total uncivilized human. Let's continue.
He continued to protest. He began to cry, according to the lawsuit. Rana says the bank put him on involuntary leave when he finally reported the alleged abuse, killing his reputation, effectively allowing Hajdini to continue in her job without punishment.
So he was placed, on like, hey, I'm going to keep you away from her. Basically, he was basically punished, suspended, basically. Even though, of course, they won't call it that. And, of course, that's not what it's going to say. It's going to say, oh, he was just placed on leave or given vacation without pay while we investigate this claim that he brought up to us. This is absolutely crazy. Let's continue.
He tried to negotiate a payout that ran into millions before he left. Rana is seeking damages for lost earnings, emotional distress, reputational harm. He was also threatened after filing an internal report. A week after delivering a written complaint, he claims the firm began retaliating against him. It included receiving anonymous threatening phone calls from individuals he believes were acting on behalf of Hajdini. Others attempting to scare him into silence, according to the complaint. Just wait till you're back in New York, brown boy, one caller allegedly told him.
Wait until you're back in New York, brown boy. That is a direct threat. That person should be arrested and prosecuted. You cannot just be calling people and threatening them. Let's continue.
You better stay away, snitch. On June 9th, Rana says he received a voicemail from someone claiming to be a manager at JPMorgan Chase, telling him he was not welcome because of his skin color, adding that people don't want you or your kind here. Another caller allegedly threatened to contact U.S. Immigration and Customs.
I would have been like, well, obviously she did. And now we're getting ready to get into the stuff where they tried to call ICE. This is crazy, yo. I just did the video on the teacher calling ICE. Now, in this case, just because he didn't want to leave his wife for you, now you got people calling ICE to try to get him deported. This woman is crazy. Let's continue.
Enforcement about him and that people don't want you or your kind here. Another caller allegedly threatened to contact U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement about him and his family. The lawsuit goes on, accusing JPMorgan Chase of enabling the alleged abuse, retaliating against the banker after he reported it, claiming the firm placed him on involuntary leave, destroyed his reputation, allowed threats against him to continue, while Hajdini and others went unpunished. A spokesman for JPMorgan Chase said a thorough internal investigation found no evidence to support those accusations. Following an investigation, we don't believe there's any merit to these claims, said the representative. While numerous employees cooperated.
Of course, they would try to say that. Because like I said, I'm sure their claim would be, oh, he wanted it. He wanted to step out on his wife. Oh, he's a man. Oh, it's okay. All the things that I already said. Absolutely a shame. Let's continue.
With the investigation, the complainant refused to participate and has declined to provide facts that would be central to support his allegations. And then there's Hajdini. She hit back in a statement issued to the Post via her lawyers. Lorna categorically denies the allegation. She never engaged in any inappropriate conduct with this individual of any kind and has never even been to the location where the alleged sexual assault supposedly took place. Conflicting information is the question. The Post has learned Rana did not report to Hajdini. The two were simply colleagues on the leverage finance team, which works on large corporate acquisitions, mergers, buyouts. People familiar with the matter said.
So now they're trying to use that because she wasn't his direct supervisor. They were basically just colleagues. That trying to use that as well. If they did, well, it was all okay. As long as it wasn't forced. Well, he's saying it's forced. So how you going to defend that connected to your client? Let's continue.
Hajdini reported to Managing Director Brandon Graffio, while Rana was supervised by another Managing Director, John Walter. It means she would have no say over the size of his annual bonus. That last part gives me pause, and my reporter instinct and investigative reporter instinct tells me that's somebody who is aligned with Hajdini.
Well, if she didn't have control over him being like promoted or bonuses or anything like that, then what, if he knew that, then what scared him? No, y'all lying. She had some type of pool, or even if she wasn't his direct, she can go to his direct and say that I don't think he deserves this or whatever. So let's continue.
Okay. It doesn't matter if he reported to her or not. It's what he believed and what she told him she could do.
Facts.
That's the key. There's all kinds of things on matter if he reported to her or not. It's what he believed and what she told him she could do. That's the key. There's all kinds of things on paper, and there's other people who perhaps are put in charge of you. I don't know what the truth is here, Jackson, but this is a wild one. Yeah. One that is right up the New York Post alley. You could see, I mean, it's a serious story, but I can only imagine the headlines on it. But what say you about these explosive details?
You know, there's a joke about the day we invented time machine.
Right.
You want to ask, well, what historical event will people most want to observe? And the number one is the sinking of the Titanic. The way the argument goes, the Titanic sank because so many people time traveled back to it to see it.
Yeah, I imagine the headlines on it. But what say you about these explosive details?
Yeah, I mean, unless they can prove without a doubt that it's not true, I don't see how Rana's not going to win a lot of money for this. You know, like, how is he going to lose this case unless they can just prove, like, oh, he just lied about everything, which doesn't really seem plausible to me. I mean, you know, typically you see this type of behavior, at least more often, from men. Some of that has to do with, you know, privilege and how we're made, but also just in terms of the corporate world, you know, men are still overwhelmingly in positions of power. So typically you see this more on the flip side. But I mean, she definitely had some type of power trip going on, obviously, because if it was just like some type of kink for brown boys or something, she can go pay for that. She's a JP executive. She got the money, you know, sex clubs all over the country. You can do your thing. But I mean, this is pretty dark. You know, I don't know exactly what his situation is in terms of like his immigration status and such that maybe that was some leverage she had over him. 'Cause I mean, I don't, you know, ain't no woman gonna molest me. You feel me? Like, I mean, but again, like, I can't really speak on that. But at the end of the day, you know, she was in a superior position. And so the liability is on JPMorgan. And I think that this is definitely a bad look on their whole organization.
Yeah. And I think that generally, with the exception of perhaps the current occupant of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, you have to have some justification in order to put pen to paper and make a court filing. There has to be something other than his word. And by the way, I don't have a problem sitting on a jury and listening to a survivor tell their story. I'm going to weigh it as it should be weighed based on the totality of the evidence. But I'm guessing there's more here, a text here or there, something in email, a location, GPS, something that perhaps we'll learn more about. It does not bode well for JPMorgan Chase, but they've wiggled out of things before, just like, I don't know, enabling Jeffrey Epstein. That comes to mind. I'm sure there's other cases. It's a story we'll keep following.
Yeah, she is absolutely crazy for her to do this to this man, to put him through this. And yeah, I think kind of like the person that was on speaking with her, I think it was probably immigration. Maybe there's something going on. Maybe he's not really supposed to be here, or maybe he was supposed to go back a long time ago and been here for years and created a life, and she knew that, used that against him, because kind of like how he said with us men, usually we will not, if we don't want to rock with you, like I said earlier in the video, then I'm not going to rock with you. And the same thing for a lot of, the same thing for most men. If we don't want to rock with you, we will not rock with you. And obviously this man, he ended up having to rock with her because, hey, if you tried to reach for my pants and try to do things like that, or try to force your way to perform fellatio on me or anything like that, I'm going to stop you. But I think the situation with his job and him trying to be promoted and maybe him, maybe not being here legally and all of that probably had a big factor into all of this. This is absolutely crazy. Let me know what y'all think. I'll have the original video pinned at the top of the chat as always, and in a link in the description. Make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, join the Young Tripp family. They are also, YouTube is getting in that trend right now of unsubscribing people. So make sure that you subscribe. Make sure you join the Young Tripp family. And I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace. Welcome back to Young Tripp Reactions. I'm bringing you guys an update video on my video I did on JPMorgan executive who alleged that she made one of her employees be a sex slave. She's countersued against these allegations. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, join the Young Tripp family. Also, if there's any videos that you feel that fit the channel, you can post it in my community tab or send me a direct message over on Instagram. My Instagram will be spelled out in the pinned comment because YouTube does not allow you to pin outside videos, outside links that aren't connected to YouTube. So my Instagram will be spelled out in the pinned comment. But for people who have like disabilities, or if you just don't want to type it in, my Instagram is in the link in the description where you can just go press it and you'll take you straight to my profile. Also, make sure you follow me over there because I post over there as well too. And also you can send me direct messages of videos that you want to see reacted to on the channel. Let's get ready to get into this update video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and join the Young Tripp family. And also, the original video hasn't even been released yet. So this video of the update has came just in time. Let's get into it.
A case that really took the internet by storm. A case that really took the internet by storm just a few weeks ago. We're tracking the new developments here with this next post coming from the New York Post. This says JPMorgan exec Lorna Hajdini sues ex-banker Mr. Rana for defamation over sex slave allegations. And you might remember this case really just creating a firestorm over on the internet. Just want to get you up to speed here on the latest that we're tracking here. as the JPMorgan Chase investment banker accused of sexual assault in an explosive lawsuit that went viral countersued her accuser, saying his malicious lies destroyed her reputation and wreaked havoc on her life. In papers filed on Tuesday night in the New York State Court in Manhattan, Lorna Hajdini said her former colleague, Mr. Rana, fabricated allegations that she raped and drugged him in order to attract maximum press coverage, cause her pain, and extract millions of dollars from her and JPMorgan. Now, Mr. Rana's lawyers did not immediately respond to requests for comment on Wednesday. Lawyers for Hajdini had no immediate additional comments as well. And JPMorgan is also a defendant in Mr. Rana's lawsuit. And to talk more about this case, we want to bring in our legal expert and attorney and founding partner of cyber law firm Star Cashman onto the program here. Star, thank you so much for coming on. Can you just walk us through a little bit about this case and how it just became so explosive here on social media? What makes this case here stand out?
Of course, this case truly stands out because of the depth of the allegations, also how specific the plaintiff in the original filing really got into the sexual assault allegations. It was very graphic, very gruesome, very specific. There were also sex-related allegations as to being mistreated based on his sex, also based off of his race as well. So there were a lot of very descriptive terms mentioned, very descriptive scenarios mentioned. There were also a lot of other individuals pulled into this as well. There was mention of a lot of witnesses being present at many of these encounters that were described. So really, when you read this lawsuit that was originally filed, it is shocking. And a lot of the allegations are so shocking that it's either hard to believe that it's false because of how specific it is, or it's hard to believe how it could even possibly be true, especially given how swiftly the sexual advances were alleged to have begun occurring upon his work, really in that position.
And now, with this countersuit, what will the plaintiff here be looking to prove in regards to evidence? What evidence do they need for a case like this? Will they be checking emails, phone calls, testimony from other employees as well? What could a case like this look like?
I'm really expecting a lot of additional parties to get involved. Like I said, there were mention of a lot of witnesses. There was mention of a witness's apartment that a lot of this alleged sexual assault had taken place at, to which the countersuit alleged that she had never even been in that apartment in the first place. So I expect a lot of individuals to have to step in, given...
Yeah, a lot of people are gonna have to, talk now. A lot of people are gonna have to give, their side of the story, because now she has countersued against him. It's so hard to believe that somebody would make up something like this. But again, she's claiming that he's making it up for, to get, information. That, that he's basically making it up to get, people to, get people talking, get people watching or get people involved or whatever, is what's going on. At least that's what she's saying. Again, everything is still alleged. It hasn't been proven that, that he made up these claims or that they did happen or they didn't happen. But this is her response. Let's continue though.
They were being named in many of these different situations as having been witnesses to attest to whether or not this is true or false. She's really going to be looking to prove that all of this was false. The sexual assault allegations specifically, any racial racially charged comments that she was alleged to have made towards him. So another thing too is in the lawsuit there are some emails or group chat messages that are mentioned, but something else that's interesting is a lot of the follow-up that happened to be sexually charged in the original allegations was said to have been made verbally. So that's going to be really difficult to fake.
Yeah, when things are made verbally, you know, unless you document them right away, even if you document them, it's kind of hard to, you know, to kind of prove that or to be able to win that. You know, I've had employers say verbal things to me and a friend of mine out at a job that we were working at that hires people with vision loss. And every attorney that I reached out to, you know, was like, we don't know if we'll be able to, you know, win this case or, you know, all those different things. So when people, you know, say things verbally, it's very hard to kind of be able to win a case like that, even if you document, you know, the things sometimes and remember the dates, the times, and all that. It's kind of even hard then, especially like if, you know, maybe the camera footage is gone from that day and all that. So let's continue. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, join the Young Tripp family. And if there's any videos that you feel that fit the channel, you can send it to me through Instagram, through direct message, or post it in my community tab. Plus, come follow me over on Instagram anyway, because I post over there as well, too. Let's continue.
Figure out whether or not to be sexually charged in the original allegations was said to have been made verbally. So that's going to be really difficult to figure out whether or not those verbal statements were true or false unless there's camera footage that could be obtained or any audio that could be obtained. But it's also a little bit off, and that part might be difficult to prove. There were some times where this individual that was accused had stated, yes, I did send this meme video in a group chat related to a presidential election, but it had nothing to do with any type of sexual connotation. So we're going to be seeing a lot of potentially internal emails, group chat messages, text messages. I'm curious what their back and forth correspondence looks like, especially because the original submission didn't have much evidence or exhibits to prove any of the claims. So I'm really curious and excited to see what evidence really does come out of this, but there are many, many, many different avenues given the vast amount of allegations made.
Advertisement.
I found the whole process for the audit to actually be quite simple. I had people that walked me through every single step.
I'm curious too, when the plaintiff is looking to seem some sort of compensation or maybe for damages if these allegations are to be proven false, with how viral this has become, does that add on to the extent of damages there? Does the viral nature of this case add on or weigh some sort of significance when it comes to this case?
It certainly does, especially because these harmful remarks, they were so aggressive that if they are found to be false, first off, it's not even going to be necessary to have to show damages in some of those cases because of how outright aggressively false they are, if they are false, and how they are truly allegations that if anyone was alleged to have done this, it would be very clear to the public how this would permanently impact their reputation. This is also a situation where this individual was in a work environment. So for this to go so extremely viral, any potential future employer, current employer, everyone's going to be watching this. And whether or not it ends up that her counterclaims prevail, for example, it's still very known to the public what happened, and it really became a meme as well. This became something a lot of people joked about. They compared it to the movie Horrible Bosses, And this individual now, unfortunately, although she's a very professional, well-established businesswoman who worked her way to the position that she had, if she had not actually engaged in these crimes that she's being alleged to have engaged in, this could permanently ruin her reputation, because this could leave a permanent mark and stain on her professional reputation that she built, and it could really impact the future given the virality of this case. So that's definitely going to play a big factor, because it's going to be extremely clear to the court, if the defamation is true, how this could greatly impact her forever.
And that's what a point I wanted to touch on as well, is can a lawsuit like this really undo any sort of damages that could have been done with viral reputational damage?
Once something is online, something I always say as a technology attorney is that it's online forever, especially when something goes this viral and becomes almost meme content, as I keep saying, which means it's something that people might run with and make it so unserious, which is also ironic given how vastly serious this situation actually is. Because of that, no matter what you do, really, if you put out a statement, if you defend your honor, if you win, things these days, especially in breaking news, it becomes old quick. We move on to the next thing, and we move on to the sexier claims, the scarier claims, the more aggressive claims. So sometimes people like the more sensationalized and shocking news and content, such as the allegations in the first place, and sharing information. For example, if she wins, and this was actually just defamatory and a fraudulent scheme to obtain money, like this individual is saying, then that's a bit less sexy, and the news will be old at that point. It's not going to be shared as much. So there's really no amount of healing that could be done, even if you win and prove the defamation. There's always going to be a mark on that name, and that's really going to be integral to this case and the damages and how much she might be able to recover if she's able to prove that this is all false.
And now also JPMorgan says that, or JPMorgan is also a defendant in Mr. Rana's lawsuit. So does this work entirely separate from Ms. Hajdini's, or how would this work now here with JPMorgan?
So with what Ms. Hajdini is focusing on, it's the claim of the sexual assault from her. It is listed under a separate cause of action. There are obviously causes of action related to the company, including racial discrimination, discrimination based on sex and gender. So some of that ties in, but she mainly focused on the allegations that mainly pertain to her. Now, what you can do is, if you are a company and there are these torts or harms occurring under your nose, maybe you're contributing to it, it's happening in the regular course of business, you could be held vicariously liable in some circumstances where an employee is committing vast harm, and you could and should have potentially stopped it. So really, she and her attorneys are going to be focusing on themselves, as they should.
Right. Her and her attorneys are going to focus on her and the claims that he's making against her, intimately assaulting her, allegedly intimately assaulting him. That's what they're really focused on, is the claims against her intimately assaulting him. The company is themselves, and her is her. She's focusing on her. The company has to focus on them as a company. And I remember, like, some of the claims that he made is that she was referring to him as black boy, requesting him to cheat on his wife, because I remember that he's married, cheat on his wife with her. If you want that promotion, you better, give it up to me. Different little things like that. Again, I'm quoting, the words that allegedly that he claims that she said. If you want that raise, you better give it up to me, or you a cute little black boy or something like that that allegedly that he claims that she said, or or cute little whatever. I forgot what race he was. I didn't watch my video again before watching this. This just happened to pop up on my feed, and I made it. But I think it was that he's he's a person of color for sure, and give it up to me, do this, do that, or you better be willing to cheat on your wife with me and all this other stuff, and tell him that he's basically a cute, whatever his race is, boy, all of those different things. So it was a lot of different claims that she touched him multiple different times, playing with him romantically against his will. It was a lot of different crazy claims that was made regarding this. I definitely do remember that. I just don't remember all of the claims. Let's continue though. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and join the Young Tripp family.
But some of the claims you could and should have potentially stopped it. So really, she and her attorneys are going to be focusing on themselves as they should, but some of the claims are intermixed. However, she's really focused mainly on what she was alleged to have done. Not treating colleagues differently because of their race or gender, not engaging in any sexual assault. And then JPMorgan is going to have to also stand on their own, maybe even show the investigation that they did originally internally when these allegations were made to them before it even went to court, to show that they were really doing everything they could, and they did allegedly disprove those allegations when they came to them in the first place.
And as we watch this countersuit here play out, what evidence is going to tend to matter the most here in a case like this?
I believe lately what we've been seeing is that a lot of internal documentation is going to be really vital. If we see that there are no damning text messages or emails, which it sounds like there wasn't even alleged to have been that kind of evidence, it will be harder, of course, to prove that there was sexual assault that occurred here. We typically, if there is actually evidence of anything in writing where she is making racial remarks against him, where she is making sexual advances, where she is conducting herself in a way that even aligns with these allegations, that is going to be really damning, and there's going to be a lot of weight put on that. So anything internal, even Slack messages, there were some instances noted regarding group chats and group chat messages. She has a different story as to what she meant in those messages, so we'll see just how clear they are and how heavily this individual has to rely on word of mouth. This person was here and heard this said to me, or see if there's camera footage there. But it's really always, unfortunately, difficult to prove sexual assault claims, even when they are fully true as well.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot of eyes on this case as it develops. Star Cashman, thank you so much for joining us. Is there any other final thoughts that you have or points that you want to make before we wrap this up here?
Something that's very interesting about this case is it's sounding actually like they're looking into the accuser's ChatGPT or AI usage history. It seems like they're also trying to paint a picture that this is a pattern that the accuser had in past workplaces as well. Now, to be fair, victims of sexual assault, sexual abuse, they do tend to be re-victimized, so that is a statistic that is relevant and is there. However, there are apparently records that they're saying are out there of this individual talking with a chatbot about a past position at a past workplace where he was saying that he was also racially discriminated against, was also being sexually abused, and was trying to build a case there. They're also was the fact that this individual was trying to seek a payout from JPMorgan beforehand. So there's a lot of questions as to whether or not there's financial motives here. But as a tech attorney, I always tell people, do not use AI carelessly. We have to know now that these records are able to be shown up in court and they're able to be used against you completely. So I think that this case is also going to highlight that if we're able to actually see them prove that this individual used an AI chatbot in order to fabricate claims. So that'll be some really interesting evidence if that comes to light.
It'll definitely be interesting to see how this all plays out. Star Cashman, a founding partner of Cyber Law Firm, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Well, that is quite something. Using ChatGPT to try to, build a fabrication story, and has a possible past history of doing this against another company. Again, this is all alleged. You want to, if a person has really been victimized, they need, the person needs to be held accountable and the company needs to be held accountable. If it's all just made up to, just to get money, and to, beat the company down and beat the person down, he should be prosecuted for making up false claims, and be held accountable. And of course, the lawsuit, the woman should be able to win that and be, given damages, and be compensated for these lies. If the allegations are true, she needs to be held accountable, and the company needs to be held accountable, and he needs to be paid out, and she needs to be prosecuted. So either way, if the claims are true, she needs to be prosecuted, and he needs to be compensated. If the allegations are false, she needs to be compensated, and he needs to be prosecuted. If they can't really figure it out, then you just gotta, I guess, leave it the way it is, I guess. And it's just unfortunate. And hopefully he can get some therapy and get things, back together if the claims are true, but just couldn't be proven. But let me know what y'all think. I'll have the original video from Rashad Ritchie pinned at the top of the chat, and this video pinned at the top of the chat. Also, I'll have both videos in the link in the description. Make sure that you guys like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, join the Young Tripp family. Also, if you have any videos that you feel that fit the channel, you can post it in my community tab or send it to me over on direct message on Instagram. My Instagram will be spelled out in the pinned comment because YouTube does not allow you to pin comments with outside links that are not connected to YouTube. So if you have like a disability or just don't want to type my Instagram in, you can go to the link in the description, hit it, it'll open up my Instagram, and you can send me videos that way that you want to see me react to on the channel. Plus, also go and follow me over on Instagram as well too, because I post over there. And I will get ready to get these videos out to you guys. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and join the Young Tripp family. And I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.